Hey guys, welcome back on this gloomy British Thursday. I love Thursdays. Sorry for the potato quality of the audio today. I don't know why. I think it might be because I'm in a different room. It just feels a bit, there's just something about it that's not quite right. I have a decent microphone. I just need to figure out how to set that up and actually start using that and being a, stop being a waster and using my laptop microphone and camera. I think I'm going to talk about Final Fantasy 15 today. I've not played it in like a month, but what I did play, I really enjoyed. I think I spent like 35 hours and only managed to get to chapter 8. And for those of you who have played it, you'll know that chapters are quite short. I think I mentioned previously that I love side questing. It doesn't matter if it's the most boring side quest ever, where it's go to this place and pick up this item. I will do it, and I will drive around in that car in Final Fantasy 15 with my boy band, and I will do those quests, and I will stop on the way to pick up things on the map that I can see. I'm a nightmare. Whether I'll actually finish the game. What I like the best about Final Fantasy 15 is that it looks incredible. I mean, the story's okay. It's a Final Fantasy game. The story's either weird or long or just a bit meh. Apparently, I think the developers didn't really want the story to be the biggest draw to it. I think it was more the open world, and I think they've done that really, really well. With the car, you get to drive around and look at all these pretty awesome landscapes, although by the time you're about 40 hours in, I think they'll look quite samey, but by that point you should really probably be continuing with the actual story. I think a fan asked if, while we were driving around in the car, whether listening to old versions of Final Fantasy music or just music in general was an option. And I think that the developers went, oh yeah, that's a really good idea, because when you're driving from place to place, it takes from between a minute and 6 minutes, which in game time, 6 minutes is quite a long time. So the addition of this music that they've added, it's pretty nostalgic, I think, and that's obviously what people want from the game. I enjoy driving around listening to Final Fantasy X. That was my first Final Fantasy game, was 10, never finished it because I'm rubbish at finishing games. I got to the final boss, there wasn't a save point before the 10-minute long cutscene and all this rubbish that you've got to do beforehand. So I just wasn't going to do that to myself. I tried 3 times, I failed, and I thought, I'm just not doing that again. The actual music for Final Fantasy 15 is quite sparse, so it only really occurs in story triggers and the actual story moments. Obviously when you're fighting monsters, that kicks in. It's usually pretty metal, pretty guitar-y, like most Final Fantasies. And then there's just this general overworld music that only kicks in every so often. And that's actually pretty beautiful. It's very orchestral, something that is also quite normal for JRPGs, and it just sounds pretty. And that only happens when you're not listening to any music in the car, or when you're listening to the MP3 player when you're on foot, or when you add in the chocobo, and the chocobo theme is the only thing you can listen to. And I love the chocobo theme. I think the chocobo theme is fantastic, but when it's the only thing you can listen to. But the actual music for the game is fantastic, and I do like that you don't hear a lot of it, because when you do hear it, when it does kick in, your studs, in some random field somewhere, and suddenly there's a few violins come in. They're quite soft. It's only about 5 minutes, if that, of material, and it emphasises this beautiful place that you're in, and just makes you think, oh yeah, this is pretty beautiful. In terms of voice acting, I'm playing it in English. My other person played it in Japanese. As much as I like Japanese voice acting, because sometimes I think it's a bit more appropriate to the actual characters, you don't get any nuances that you would get in the English version, obviously being English speaking. The intonation, the vocal frequencies, the pitch of the character, what they're saying, and that it's basically boy band banter. It's the most banterous game. And I think that comes across really well in English. All the regional accents or regional American accents are sort of there, so you kind of understand where everyone comes from. I just don't get these nuances or accents or any type of intonation in the voice when it comes to the Japanese version. It just doesn't happen. So I would thoroughly recommend, even if you play most RPGs or JRPGs in Japanese, play Final Fantasy in English, because the voice acting is really good. The finish on it is fantastic, and it feels very natural. And for a game where you are driving around in a car with your friends or bodyguards, natural speech of people just being around each other is really quite good. And they've done that really well, I think. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Any comments, please put them in the comments section. I realise from these videos that I am a really heavy mouth breather. I'm like, I'm going to try and work on that. I don't know how, because it's just how I breathe, but I'm gonna try it. I'll see you next time.